Now at 6 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, the Victoria County Democratic Party chair stepped down this morning.
A suspect involved in the tabernacle theft from an El Campo Catholic Church now in custody.
Plus a hearing set for Wednesday involving the 4 former Industrial ISD baseball players.
I have a very different forecast, one that includes cooler weather, rain, and clouds. Yeah, including us. We'll have all that coming up in a moment.
And in sports, we spoke to both head football coaches from the game of the week last week about the controversy. We hear about what they had to say in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
The court hearing regarding 4 former Industrial ISD students will take place Wednesday morning. The 4 former baseball players indicted on charges of organized criminal assault. Braxton Cole Warren, Zachary James Kukler, Christopher Taylor McCrory, and Cullen Reed Stumfull, all former varsity players in the Cobra baseball team, accused of assaulting a younger player following a baseball game on April 27th.
Today at around 5 p.m., a crash at Airline in Navarro impacted traffic traveling on southbound Navarro. One person appeared trapped, but no other injuries were reported.
Part of the tabernacle stolen from St. Rose Catholic Church in El Campo was returned last week. The El Campo Leader News reports an El Campo man now faces charges. 29-year-old Jose Manuel Jaramillo in the Wharton County Jail, facing theft of property and criminal mischief and damage to a place of worship charges. El Campo police remain on the hunt for 1 or maybe 2 others they believe responsible for the theft.
There is a suspect in the vandalism at the Yorktown High School football field late Friday night. Authorities tell us 23-year-old Trace Alvarez of Yorktown was arrested Saturday afternoon in Yorktown, then bonded out of the DeWitt County Jail the same day. Authorities accuse Alvarez of vandalizing the Yorktown football field by driving an ATV onto the field and doing donuts. Eyewitnesses reported the incident late Friday night. Now the Victoria County Democratic Party chair stepped down after serving the community for 2 years. 25 News Now reporter Adarius McCormick has more. Adarius?
That's right, you guys. Victoria County's Democratic Party chair did resign from his role this morning. Woodrow Wilson Wagner II discussed his decision with us earlier today. Wagner announced his resignation during the Victoria County Commissioners meeting this morning. He mentioned party tribalism as a part of his reasoning behind the decision. He says every Democrat is not liberal and not every Republican is conservative. Wagner thinks the best decision for him and the group is a new leader.
My goals is to create a party that accommodates all voices, especially in this community. That means reaching out to people that are conservative and moderate and faith-based. It doesn't seem that enough people in the Democratic Party here want to do that. And so I don't see my leadership as being compatible with some of their goals. So I think they probably need a better leader.
Although Wagner resigned from the party chair, he will remain a political science professor and director of institution programs at the University of Houston, Victoria. Also, the Victoria County Democratic Party commented on the live feed of the interview he was not driven out by the local Democratic Party. Wagner may not have a title, but he promises to continue helping as many people as possible. Don, Karina, back to you.
Darius, thank you. Here's your viewer poll this evening. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. The question is, what is your main takeaway from Woodrow Wilson Wagner's resignation speech? We're going to take a look at these results, and the highest one is at 59% for a, what does that say? Need for a new political approach within the party. Thank you for voting. We want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we're going to have an update on 25 News Now at 10.
Last Thursday, the Victoria Fire Department responded to 3301 East Mockingbird Lane at the Twin Pines Nursing and Rehab for a transformer fire. It was a ground transformer on the Twin Pines property, but was not on or in the building. Residents were not threatened by the fire and no injuries were reported. The Victoria Fire Department extinguished the fire and the electricity was impacted by the fire. Twin Pines staff relocated residents to other parts of the building with functioning electricity.
And now let's take a look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Bettis, who tells us we are out of the heat for now.
Really? Are we?
I'm going to give away ribbons that you made it. You finally made it through the entire summer of 2023. Today, our temperature right now, of course, is in the 90s. We're looking at 96 right now, but your high today was 99. First time out of the 100. Well, guess what? For the rest of the week, the temperatures go down, and we even have had a chance of rain. So you made it. You survived the entire summer, and we'll have more coming up in just a moment. Back to you.
Mac, thank you. The impeachment trial of Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton expected to wrap up within days. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick overseeing the trial, and he expects closing arguments to start as soon as Thursday. Patrick said both sides have used about 14 of the 24 hours allotted to them to present evidence. Once the trial is over, the Senate will head into deliberations. Paxton facing 16 articles of impeachment, including bribery and misuse of his office to benefit a wealthy donor. Paxton denies any wrongdoing. City of Allen officials asked the Attorney General's office to allow it to withhold some records from the May 6th mall mass shooting there. Since the shooting, which killed 8 people and wounded 7 others, 25 media open requests have been filed for a full incident report and other police documents pertaining to the shooting. The Attorney General's office ruled it is up to the City of Allen whether it wants to release the information, saying that releasing the records would, quote, interfere with law enforcement, unquote. Rosenberg authorities said 2 men who sent them on a brief police chase had been arrested after they were reportedly bank jugging. KPRC reports the men identified as 26-year-old Derek Williams of Houston and 25-year-old Landon Robertson of Rosenberg. Authorities say both Robertson and Williams were out on bail out of Harris County. Both men found to have more than $12,000 of stolen money and other belongings, and the men were wearing ankle monitors at the time of this incident.
A North Texas woman says she filed a complaint with police after she says officers responding to a domestic call tried to enter her apartment by mistake. KXAS reports a 21-second video captured by the woman's Ring camera shows one officer covering the camera while knocking on the door. Then one officer begins kicking the door. At one point, an officer appears to ask another if this was even the right door. The woman says she understands they were trying to respond to a call, but this could have ended in a tragedy. The department says it will not comment on the story until the investigation is complete. Houston Rockets guard Kevin Porter Jr. was arrested after attacking his girlfriend inside a Manhattan hotel room. Porter Jr. allegedly attacked the victim overnight Monday at the Millennium Hotel near Times Square. His girlfriend was taken to the hospital with at least 1 broken bone and bruising. The alleged incident began after the pair had been out. She returned to the room, but Porter Jr. got locked out, and that's when the altercation escalated from there. Porter Jr. was charged with second-degree assault and strangulation. The Rockets said that they were in the process of gathering information surrounding the matter. Law enforcement officers, veterans, and community leaders gathered to remember the events of September 11th. They met at Victoria's Field of Honor this morning to honor the lives lost 22 years ago. Those who attended say we should never forget 9/11.
You know, we can never forget what happened to us many years ago, and honor the men and women that never returned or made it home. So I'm glad to see we're continuing and putting forth this effort.
The 9/11 Remembrance Ceremony is now a yearly event in Victoria.
As the nation observes the 22nd anniversary of 9/11 attacks, McAdams Floral placed this wreath at Fire Station Number 1 on Goodwin as a tribute to 9/11. And about 30 members of the Port Lavaca Fire Department took part in the 9/11 Memorial Stair Climb. They walked the equivalent of the 110 stories of the World Trade Center by walking the bleachers at Sandcramp Stadium. They were joined by members of the volunteer fire departments of Seadrift, Port Comfort, Port Alto Olivia, Magnolia, and 6 Mile, along with the fire brigades from Formosa Plastics and Dow Chemical. 2 Port Lavaca and 5 Victoria firefighters walked the steps of the Tower of the Americans in San Antonio today to commemorate 9/11. Never forget. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Then you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. And stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 6. Morocco recovering from its deadliest earthquake.
Also ahead, the FDA approves a new COVID-19 vaccine. Toll is rising after a deadly earthquake.
Right now, rescuers racing against time to find survivors in the rubble more than 48 hours after Morocco's deadliest earthquake in over 6 decades.
Search and rescue crews working through the darkness in Morocco after a devastating 6.8 magnitude earthquake, which according to the U.S. Geological Survey is the strongest to hit that country in more than a century. Video capturing the moment the massive quake struck.
I'm really scared.
Powerful aftershocks continuing through the weekend. The death toll rising Monday, with several thousand people dead and about as many believed to be injured, according to state-run television. Remote communities in the high Atlas Mountains taking the brunt of the damage. Rescuers now using helicopters to reach those areas. Bulldozers clearing paths as other teams traverse treacherous mountain roads, searching for survivors. This man telling ABC's Tom Sufi Burridge.
It was like a very bad dream I like to wake up from.
Morocco's prime minister saying people whose homes were damaged will be compensated when rebuilding begins. Meantime, tourists in the city of Marrakesh stranded at the airport.
And yeah, just everybody going outside, and it was really, really scary. We were like shaking for hours.
President Biden pledging the U.S. is working to make sure all American citizens in Morocco are accounted for.
We're working expeditiously to ensure American citizens in Morocco are safe, standing ready to provide any necessary assistance to the Moroccan people as well.
And despite offers from President Biden and other U.S. officials, a State Department spokesperson confirming Monday that the Moroccan government has not yet accepted humanitarian aid from the United States. Jay O'Brien, ABC News, Washington.
The FDA approving a new round of COVID-19 boosters Monday. The new shots made by Pfizer and Moderna arriving along with the seasonal flu vaccine. The CDC expected to hold an advisory board meeting Tuesday on who should get the new shots. Millions of doses will be shipped across the country within days of the final decision by the CDC director. The new vaccine doses arrive as cases of COVID-19 continue to increase across the nation. A Fort Worth dog was named the tallest dog in the world by Guinness World Records.
That's right, but his owner says he's suffering from some pretty serious health issues.
Zeus is very laid back.
He's big in name and in size. The Great Dane, standing at more than 7 feet tall, made headlines after Guinness World Records named him the largest male dog in the world.
So when he actually won, it was pretty shocking.
Multiple vacations and countless adventures later,
he's a part of our family.
The dog, with a mind of his own, has filled this home with joy.
I cannot make him do anything. He does what he wants.
But Friday morning,
we don't want him to hurt anymore.
His life will change.
It was very upsetting, very overwhelming.
Zeus will have surgery to have one of his front legs amputated. The 3-year-old dog has bone cancer.
I lost it. I could not control it. I was a mess.
But the family pulled together a GoFundMe, raising money for his medical needs.
He's hurting now, so we don't want him to hurt. We don't want him to be in pain.
The surgery is a chance for Zeus to live longer.
I want him to be happy. I want him to be, as healthy as he can be. But I want him to be pain-free and enjoy, what time we have left.
He'll still be the tallest dog in the world.
He'll just be missing a leg.
And their only hope is to fill what's missing with extra love.
Good boy. He sits wherever he wants to sit. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and congratulations. We set the new record. Yep, as of yesterday, we've had 60 days over 100 degrees, so we beat the year of 2011. Other states, other cities in the state went even higher and more 100-degree days, but that's our record, 60 days over 100. But the good news, rest of this week, no more hundreds. Maybe that's the end of it. We'll talk about it coming up in a moment. Stay tuned. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Three unusual things in our forecast and in our future: clouds, showers, and cooler temperatures. Can I say that? Yes, I can. I can say that. Today's high was only 99, so we didn't hit the hundreds. And you can see how thunderstorms are already firing up in the panhandle of Texas. In fact, tonight there's a possibility they may get some rough stuff, some big thunderstorms up in this area. Of course, there's heating. There's a frontal system and there's an upper air low, all triggering to combine that. And where's the dome? The dome has finally moved west and it's flattened out. So the dome may not be a problem for us anymore. And now that frontal systems are coming in, I think we're in the clear. I think we made it. Get a load of the observed highs for today. These were what was recorded. 99 for us, yes. 89 in Dallas, boy, they're dancing in the streets. 70 in Amarillo, 91 in Lubbock. So you can clearly tell where that frontal system is. How far south will it get? Well, this is the forecast highs for tomorrow. Get a load of that. 78. Sounds good, doesn't it? 78 in Mineral Wells, even 73 in Abilene, 71 in Midland. That's cold in Midland, 71. Can you believe that? We'll still be in the 90s, but it's coming down little by little. So we pretty much have made it through. Now, the frontal system that's up there will drag down into our area. It's not a huge front, but notice that through Saturday, through this entire week, we have a chance for rain, and we have better than an average chance of getting up to maybe a half an inch. So we're in blue there, and that's good. Looks like North Texas will get a lot more rain, but that's something we haven't talked about in quite some time. We're also at the absolute peak of the hurricane season. September 10th is the actual peak of the season, so now we're going to see fewer and fewer. But I can't say that just yet, because there's still stuff out there. Yesterday, the 10th of September, is the anniversary of Hurricane Carla. A lot of the old timers remember that. It was a Category 4, landed 6 miles south of Port O'Connor. A lot of people associate Carla with Galveston, but really it was a crossroads storm, and it came in at 45 miles an hour. The big story was that the boats that were in Port Lavaca came up with the storm surge and landed in Bloomington and other areas about 5-10 miles inland because the water was that deep. So now let's talk about right now. This is Lee. Lee is still a problem. It's still in the Atlantic. It's still forecast to move to the northwest. Right about now, as I mentioned last week, it is going to clip New England. They're not going to get a direct hit, but as a Category 1 on Saturday, they're going to be getting hurricane force winds. Martha's Vineyard, Long Island, Massachusetts. Probably they'll even get conditions throughout much of New York. But the main event will be right here off of Bangor, Maine, and they will have the strong side over here in the Nova Scotia area. But they're going to get a Category 1 hurricane, not a 5. So it's not a great thing, but it's better than it could have been. And here's the track, and all the computer models pretty much in agreement that it will be continuing north. There was a little trend pulling it this way for Boston, but it looks like they'll get nasty weather, but the strong side of the storm will be right about here. So let's take a look at your forecast. Well, for those of you in Port Lavaca, getting up to 94 tomorrow, a little cloud cover here and there. And for those of you in Cuero, getting up to 98, a little bit more cloud cover. When does the rain start? Well, it looks like by the time we get to Thursday, the frontal system will drag through our area. And we've got the best chance of Thursday and Friday rain showers around here. And guess what? No 100s for 7 days. That's your 7-day forecast. Reminding everybody we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that, put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's Karina.
Thank you, Mac. And now here's Sports Director Gino Perez.
Thanks, Karina. Heading into week 4, we check out the state rankings for the Texas high school football teams in the area. That and more after the break. At a crossroads, the game of the week last week between the Edna Cowboys and Refugio Bobcats had it all, from controversy, overtime, high-scoring game, and even family. The game was competitive throughout and went down to the last play in double overtime, where Edna would come up short. The controversy stemmed from an interception that was seen bouncing off of the ground, and then the Bobcats kicked the extra point in double overtime when they should have gone for 2, according to overtime rules. We reached out to both head coaches, and Cowboys head coach Jimmy Mitchell said the Texas Association of Sports Officials and the Corpus Christi chapter reached out to him, and he said he sent them the film from the game Friday. Mitchell did not want any more bad blood between the officials because the same crew that was officiating that game will be officiating the game on Friday when they take on Sinton. The last thing Mitchell said he wants to do is win, lose, or draw, as he's just glad that this made his team better. Bobcat head coach Jason Herring said he did not have a comment about the situation. Regardless of what happens, both teams have bigger aspirations than a non-district game in week 3. Another storyline about Friday was the fact that Texas A&M commit Ernest Campbell played for the Refugio Bobcats, and his dad, Derek Campbell, is a coach for the Edna Cowboys. Here are their thoughts on the game.
So it was a very tense game. That just really get me prepared for college and how it's going to be. But, you know, it was just an exciting moment to play versus my dad.
It's real special. Just not the side I want, but it's, you know, it's always special to see my son play and watch him play. He had a pretty good performance. He still needs some things to work on, but, you know, he'll get better with it.
The Refugio Bobcats will take on the Bishop Badgers on Friday in Bishop. This will be the first away game that the Bobcats have played all season. Refugio is still ranked number 2 in the state, behind the Timpson Bears. And speaking of rankings, let's see where the rest of the top football teams in the state rank. The Mean Green improved to 3-0 on the year and stand pat at number 4 in Class 4A Division II. Cuero is behind Carthage at 1, Silsbee at 2, and Texarkana Pleasant Grove at number 3. We mentioned the loss that Edna suffered on Friday, and it affects their rankings as well for week 4. The Cowboys are now at number 9 in the state. Edna will take on Sinton Friday night, hoping to bounce back and move its way up the rankings. The Yoakum Bulldogs made the top 10 last week, and this week they will stay the same location even after a loss. The Bulldogs put up a heck of a fight against the top-ranked Cuero Gobblers, and Yoakum is going to host the Port Lavaca Calhoun Sand Crabs this Friday, and it will be our game of the week in Yoakum. And lastly, the Tidehaven Tigers rolled through the Palacios Sharks, winning 56-0. The Tigers are 3-0 on the season and have not allowed a single point this year. Tidehaven is going to take on another area team in the Industrial Cobras in the Snake Pit on Friday night. And lastly, if you're a Texas Longhorn and a Dallas Cowboy fan, I know you're happy because the Longhorns are ranked number 4 in the nation, and the Dallas Cowboys just beat up on the Giants. So that's your sports. Donna Carina, back to you.
Gino, may I say that was a great shot on the video of the interception, question mark?
Yeah, great shot. Zach, he got the credit for that one, and it blew up. It blew up quite a bit on social media. So.
I imagine.
All right, well, thank you guys. And we're going to be back in a moment. On this 9/11, people are volunteering around the country to put together meals for those in need.
in 2009, 8 years after the attack on September 11th, that day was designated a National Day of Service by Congress. This morning, hundreds of volunteers gathered at the Convention Center in Washington, D.C. to pack meals for those in need. Many organizations volunteered through AmeriCorps, the federal agency for national service and volunteerism. Nationwide volunteers plan to package more than 6.5 million meals. They'll be distributed by local partners working to address hunger. And some of us who are a little bit older will never forget that day 22 years ago today. And it is great to see people like these volunteers here who are helping people in need, who carry that spirit, you know, of remembering the people who lost their lives on 9/11, and they're still identifying bodies as they were last week from the 9/11 rubble. Could be years until they fully identify all the people who lost their lives there at the Twin Towers.
Amazing how we all felt kind of as one on the day after, which is a great thing out of a tragedy. I wish we could get back there.
Yeah, we were stunned, but then we realized we must unite.
We
must
come together.
Must put away partisan, like Mr. Wagner talked about earlier. We've got to put that partisan stuff aside.
Get back to the middle.
And
We're all Americans.
there will be people who will.
Yeah. But we're all
And some
Americans.
We never forget.
Oh well.
Folks, for weather, we finally are breaking the hundreds. In fact, the rest of the week, I don't expect any hundreds. And yes, we do have a shot at getting some shower activity around here. Maybe not so much on Tuesday, but Wednesday night into Thursday, when the tail end of a frontal system comes in, good shot at getting some much needed rainfall. And I don't care. I'm going to wash my car anyway to make sure that it happens. Okay?
All righty.
Give us video of that too, okay?
Okay, I'll get you.
All right. All right, thanks for joining us. We'll see you after football tonight, okay?
That's right. Join us tonight for 25 News Now at 10, and like Don said, right after football.